Welcome, weary travellers. We are live again on TikTok. I remember the music this time. Just in a sec. Making sure I have all of my notes. Okie doke, I'm just going to leave it a minute or two so we can get some viewers going here on TikTok. Music in the background once again is by the Features. Is it fantasy and world music? And once again, I have tea because it's getting much colder in the UK. So no monster this live. My stirring up trouble cauldron. Just be another minute or so of me vibing to the music. Although I will say that this live may be a little bit longer than other lives, as we've done the Barbarian and the Bard and we're moving on to the Cleric. The Cleric has a lot of domains, so it may be a little bit longer. So props to anyone who reaches the end. I have yet another set of dice ready to use as examples and show off my seemingly never-ending collection. Make sure my tea doesn't fall off the table. Sorry, just bear with me. Still not massively used to going live. I think I have inherited my dad's lack of technology skills. Hello. Thank you for the rose. We're going to be diving into the Cleric class in a little while. I'm hoping this is not too loud. As I've said in previous lives, I'm just going through the 2014 Player's Handbook. I know that I've not actually seen the new handbook. I've not had the chance to go through it yet. Always struggled with clerics. I'm currently playing a cleric in our Icewind campaign, and it's a bit different than playing like a druid or something. I do like my little dwarven cleric though, even though she can't hit anything in melee to save her life or the lives of her companions. Might give it just another minute. Bad rolls, yeah. For some reason, this is a set of dice that I use for Erin, but for some reason it just, unless I'm rolling with advantage, it never really wants to hit anything above a 5 or something. It's extremely frustrating. And then when I do manage to hit, I roll like the lowest damage possible. Again, very frustrating. In the freezer, get that attitude off it. Well, I always say I live or die by my dice rolls. I have this set of dice. I played a Dragonborn Paladin, and oh lord, I ended up getting like 3 levels of exhaustion because my rolls were terrible. But I digress. I'm going to start with the roll well but low on damage. Oh, it's so annoying, especially if you roll like a nat 20. If you get like a critical hit and then you roll just the lowest amount of damage possible, it's so annoying. But I'm going to get started, and we're going to go through the Cleric. So last week we went through the Bard. Like I said again, we went through the 2014 version of the Player's Handbook. And I think this live might be a little bit longer because there's quite a few domains. I think there's 6 or 7 domains for the Cleric, whereas the Bard only had 2 colleges. So props to anyone who makes it to the end with me. But clerics are healers and warriors of divine magic. They are conduits of their chosen deity, and the gods don't bless just anyone with this magic. They choose their warriors very carefully, and clerics don't generally tend to need to study to gain their magic, unlike wizards, which we will cover later on. But clerics, other than memorising the odd prayer, ancient ritual rites and stuff like that, they are given their magic in terms of how their magic depends on their devotion to their god. So if they are 100% devoted, their magic will, come off with a hitch. But I guess if a player wanted to go through a rocky patch with their deity, the DM could flavour it in terms of you cast magic, but it's not as effective. So the healing spell you cast, it only heals the person for half damage, or the attack that you made, it only damages the enemy for half damage. The cleric's magic ranges, they can aid and they can help. They can aid and they can help their allies, and they can hinder and harm their enemies. But again, they are also capable of wading into battle to help with melee, like I just said, unless you're my dwarven cleric Erin, where she can't seem to hit anything with her warhammer. Bless her. So clerics are divine agents, and as with the barbarian and the bard previously, clerics are fairly rare. So not every acolyte in a temple or every priest in a place of worship you will see, not every one of them will be an actual cleric. Some are just, they're in service to their temple, they're there for the day-to-day running of things. But actual true clerics are fairly rare in hierarchies. And when it comes to adventuring, clerics tend to go on adventures because it's what their deity wishes of them. Their deity could want them to retrieve a religious relic, they could want them to go and help another religious sect of theirs, they could want them to go and spend... apologies. They could want them to possibly go and spread their good word, spread their faith, try and get more followers, raise more temples, that sort of thing. As well as protect those in need. And when it comes to character creation, and I've said it in the past and I'll say it again, so just to double check with your DM in terms of the pantheons that may be available within their campaign. Because I don't say this to try and influence your character creation in any way, but if you're a first-time player and you spend hours and hours and hours creating a character with a certain god or goddess in mind, and then you go to the DM and say, I want to worship this god, and they turn to you and say, I'm really sorry, that god isn't available, that pantheon isn't available in the campaign that I'm running. So it's always good to communicate with your DM and double check what pantheons might be available. And then when it comes to character creation, it's a good thing to think about what deity you want your character to worship. What energy do you want to produce? What do you want your character to embody? Also, what is the relationship between your character and your character's deity? Did they enter service willingly? Are they a devoted follower? Or were they brought into service against their will? How are they seen by the people in their temple. Are they a champion? Are they a lazy layabout? Are they a troublemaker? Because all are possible. And what is your ultimate goal? Do you have does your god have something in mind for you, or do you have the goal of just basically showing how worthy you are, proving to yourself that you are a worthy follower? Quick build for a cleric. Make sure that your wisdom is your highest score, and either strength or constitution is your second highest, and then choose the acolyte background. And then for hit points for a cleric, you get the D8 for your hit points. So at first level you would get the full 8 plus your constitution modifier. So if you had a constitution of 16, your modifier would be +3. So at first level you would have 11 hit points, and then subsequently you would either roll a D8, add your constitution modifier. Hello! Some people are just joining now. So you can either roll the D8 and then add your constitution modifier, or take the medium of 5 and then continue that way. Proficiency wise, for a cleric, you are proficient in light and medium armour, so that's the leather armour and then the scale mail, and shields as well. Proficient in all simple weapons, no martial weapons, but all simple weapons, so things like clubs and maces and things like that. No proficiencies in tools, but some of the domains have proficiencies of their own, so we'll go into those later on. Skills wise, you can choose 2 from history, insight, medicine, persuasion and religion to become proficient in. Equipment, you can have a mace or warhammer if proficient, because the warhammer is one of the martial weapons, and again some of the domains have proficiency in different types of weapons. Scale mail or leather or chainmail, again if proficient. A light crossbow with 20 bolts, and I did have to double check this is a simple weapon, so you'd already be proficient in it, or you could choose any simple weapon barring that. You'd also get a shield and a holy symbol, which can differ depending on what deity you choose to worship. You also get a priest pack or an explorer's pack, and I think the priest packs are very similar to the explorer's pack. You still get a bedroll and some rations and a water skin and things like that, but I think you get like vestments and incense and things like that in the priest pack as well. Spellcasting, like I said before, the cleric is conduit for a divine power for your chosen deity. So when you first start out, you will know 3 of the cleric cantrips, and they will gradually increase as you level up, and you get a number of spell slots, and again that increases as you level up, and they reset on a long rest. So first level you get 3 cantrips, and you have 2 first level spell slots, but you can also prepare cleric spells. So choose from the cleric spell list up to your wisdom modifier plus your cleric level. So for example, level 1, if you have a 16 in your wisdom, that would be 4 cleric spells that you'd be able to choose from the spell list, because it would be 1 plus your modifier of 3. So you can prepare these, and they will still be restricted to the number of spell slots that you have in terms of how many spells you can physically cast every long rest. And different from the bard from last live, the bard can change these spells that they know when they level up, but a bard can change these prepared spells every long rest. So you can have a slightly different list of spells that you're able to cast every day after a long rest, just to kind of change it up. Depending on what's happening in the campaign, you might be able to prepare better. If you're going on a mission, if you're going on a quest, you might think, okay, I know these spells can wait after a long rest, and I can choose the best spells that will give me and my party the best chance of succeeding in this mission. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability. Like the Bard has Charisma, for the Clerics it's Wisdom, so it's good to have Wisdom as your highest ability score. So your spell save would be 8 plus your proficiency, and at first level your proficiency is +2, and plus your Wisdom modifier. So for example, again, if you had 16 Wisdom, you would have 8 plus your proficiency of 2 plus your Wisdom modifier of +3, which would be 13. So certain spells you cast and enemies will have to make, say, like a dexterity saving throw or a charisma saving throw, and they would have to reach a DC of 13 in order to negate some of those spell effects. Spell attack would be your proficiency plus your Wisdom modifier. So again, if you had a Wisdom of 16, that would be 3 plus your proficiency of 2. You would get a +5 to when you roll spells with attack. Again, as with the Bard, you get the ritual casting and spell casting focus. So ritual spell casting is when it takes 10 minutes longer for spells with the ritual spell tag, and you don't have to use certain components. Components like salt or dirt or soot or things like a twig, leaves, things like that, you don't have to use those components in order to do a ritual spell. Certain components, like, say, for example, 500 gold pieces worth of diamond dust or 150 gold pieces worth of sapphires, things like that, you would still need to use those components, but the most simple ones like salt, dirt, like I said before, you don't need to use those if you are using a ritual spell. Same with the spellcasting focus, you can use the spellcast focus rather than using the material components. So with the divine domains, you can choose from knowledge, life, light, nature, tempest, trickery, and war, and we'll go into these later on. So there's 7 altogether, and each domain has its list of own spells which are added, which your cleric will always have prepared. So that doesn't take away from the prepared spells that you can choose. You always have an extra 2 for added on from your domain. At 2nd level, you get access to Channel Divinity. So you channel divine energy straight from your deity. Clerics always start with Turn Undead, and an extra Channel Divinity, depending on the domain that you've picked. So Turn Undead, any undead enemies will literally need to spend their turn trying to get as far away from you as possible, and they cannot willingly go within 30 feet of you. So this lasts for a minute, and it's really good in combat. Say if you were surrounded by a horde of zombies and you cast this, they fail their save and they have to flee, basically. It lasts for 1 minute, like I said, or until they're attacked, but it gives your party a chance to kind of regroup and try and think of a battle strategy to try and get out of the situation. So Channel Divinity resets on a short or a long rest, and it increases to 2 at level 6 and it increases to 3 at level 18. Ability score improvements, again at level 4, level 8, level 12, 16 and 19 you get to add 2 to one of your ability scores or 1 to 2 of your ability scores. So for example, you can add 2 to your wisdom, or you can add 1 to your strength and 1 to your constitution, or 1 to your charisma, 1 to your wisdom, or 2 to your intelligence. It's completely up to you. At level 5 you get Destroy Undead. So if you use the Channel Divinity Turn Undead, undead creatures with a certain challenge rating will just be destroyed. So if it's challenge rating of a half or lower, such as skeleton or zombie, they will instantly be destroyed rather than just having to spend their turn to get as far away from you as possible. At level 8, that challenge rating becomes 1 or lower, so that includes things like a ghoul or spectre. Level 11, challenge rating becomes 2, ghast or will-o-wisp. Level 14, challenge rating becomes 3 or lower, which then includes mummies and wights. And level 17, CR becomes 4 and lower, which includes things like banshees and ghosts. At level 10, you get Divine Intervention, which we've not got high enough in any campaign really for this to come about, but I like the idea of it. So you are able to call on your deity in a time of need, and what you would do is you can either roll a D100 if you actually have one. I unfortunately don't have one to show you, but not a lot of people have D100. This is why they include the percentile dice and the D10 in with any standard role-playing dice set. So you would roll these, and if your roll is equal to or lower than your cleric level, so if you are level 10, it would need to be a 10 or lower. Then your deity intervenes and does what they need to in order to help you. If it is 11 or higher, for example, if you're a level 10, then unfortunately it doesn't work. If it is successful, then you have to wait 7 days in order to do it again. Or if it's unsuccessful, you can try again after a long rest. And when you reach level 20 with this divine intervention, it's an auto success. So divine domains, like I said, there's 7 in total, and quite a few deities have influence over more than one domain. So you can have 2 different clerics, one worshipping the god for light and the other for knowledge, or one worshipping for tempest and one worshipping for the war domain. So again, check with your DM to see what pantheons are available and what gods are going to be available for the campaign that they're running. The first domain is knowledge. Deities of this domain value learning and understanding above all. Some believe that gathering and sharing knowledge is the most important thing. Others think that gathering and hoarding knowledge is more important because knowledge is secret and you shouldn't give it to anyone. But followers of these gods study lore, they collect tomes, and they learn all that they can. So knowledge domain spells, again, like I said, these are always prepared. At first level, you get command and identify. Level 3, augury and suggestion. Level 5, non-detection, speak with dead. Level 7, arcane eye and confusion. Level 9, legend lore and scrying. So like I said, these are always prepared. You don't have to include them in with the list of spells that you are able to prepare. So at first level, you can learn 2 languages of your choice and become proficient in 2 skills of either arcana, history, nature, or religion, if you're not already proficient in those. And the proficiency for these are doubled. So at level 1, your proficiency is +2, and doubled for these, that would be +4. Second level, you get knowledge of the ages for channel divinity. So you have the turn undead, but you also get knowledge of the ages. So it's an action. You become proficient in a skill or a tool of your choice for 10 minutes. So Turn Undead would probably be more use in combat because it only lasts for a minute, but this lasts for 10 minutes, so it's quite situational. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to know, you need to be proficient in a certain skill, you can use this channel divinity to become proficient in that skill for 10 minutes. Level 6, get another channel divinity of read thoughts, and once you have successfully read the surface thoughts of a creature, you are able to command them and basically make them do your bidding. Level 8, you get potent spell casting, so you can add your wisdom modifier you can add that to damage to your cantrips. So say you roll a 3 for your damage to cantrips. If you've got a modifier of +4, you add that's 7 damage. Just pulling these numbers out of thin air just for examples. And at 17th level for the knowledge domain, you get visions of the past. So you can meditate for a number of minutes equal to your wisdom ability. So you need to concentrate for this meditation, but then you're able to gain knowledge of certain acts that have been enacted in a certain area, or things that have been a certain object had been used in. So object reading, you get to know the object's previous owner, how it was acquired, if it had been involved in any certain situations, An area reading is the same, but it's for a certain area, so you can pick up on certain emotions, or if a certain event had occurred, like negative events such as death or violence or battle, but positive emotions as well, such as like a marriage or a birth. For the next domain is the life domain. This one focuses on the vibrant and positive energy that sustains all life. These gods promote vitality and health, healing the sick and injured, and caring for those in need, and driving away the forces of death. And anybody who's played D&D for any certain amount of time knows how important it is to be healed during combat. The life domain spells, first level you can have Bless and Cure Wounds. Level 3, Lesser Restoration and Spiritual Weapon. Level 5, Beacon of Hope and Revivify. Level 7, Death Ward, Guardian of Faith. Level 9, Mass Cure Wounds and Raise the Dead. So, first level for this, you get a bonus proficiency. You become proficient with heavy armour. So that would be things like chainmail or plate armour. Also, your healing spells become more effective. And again, like I said, anyone who's spent any time in combat knows how important it is to have a good healer. Protect the healer, don't let the healer go down. Second level, for Channel Divinity, you get access to the Preserve Life Channel Divinity. So as an action, you can present your holy symbol, and you are able to distribute hit points that are equal to 5 times your cleric level. So if you are level 5 and you do this, you have a pool of 25 hit points to distribute to creatures within a 30-foot radius of you, but only up to half their maximum hit points. So you could give 10 hit points to one person, 2 hit points to another, 5 to another, etc., until they are up to half of their normal hit points. Level 6, you become a blessed healer, so your healing spells now heal you as well. So once you heal your party, you get the benefits of that healing spell as well. Level 8, you get access to Divine Strike, so you can infuse your weapon with the divine power of your deity. And on successful attacks, you deal an extra 1d8 radiant damage. And this scales to 2d8 when you get to level 14. And level 17, you get Supreme Healing, and when I'm making my notes, I just put Instamax Healing. So any healing that you need to roll for example, if you roll 2d6, you just instantly give someone 12 hit points instead of potentially rolling a 2. Next domain we have is Light. So Light Clerics, their deities promote the ideals of rebirth and renewal, truth and vigilance. And some deities are depicted as the sun themselves, and some are depicted as ever watchful sentinels that see through the deceptions of man. Clerics of Light are enlightened, and they're infused with radiance and power, charged with chasing away lies and burning away the darkness. And my Dwarven cleric Erin in our Icewind campaign, she's a light domain cleric, and I feel like she embodies this quite well. Can't hit anyone for shit, but she embodies the light domain very well. So light domain spells, first level you get access to Burning Hands and Fairy Fire. Third level, Flaming Sphere and Scorching Ray. Fifth level, Daylight and Fireball, and I will admit, I'm a nerd, I can't wait to cast Fireball as much as the next person. Level 7, Guardian of Faith and Wall of Fire. And level 9, Flame Strike and Scrying. And for when you get to the first level, if you pick this domain, you get a bonus cantrip, Light, if you don't know that one already. You also get access to Warding Flare, so as a reaction you can impose disadvantage on an attack that's being made against you. So again, disadvantage is you roll your d20 and you roll it twice and you take the lowest of the 2 numbers. Level 2, for Channel Divinity, you get the Radiance of the Dawn, so as an action you can present your holy symbol and you harness the power of the sunlight itself, and your enemies are hit with 2d10 radiant damage. They will have to make a save, and if they fail their save, they are hit with the full 2d10 damage, and if they make it, they get half that. Level 6, your warding flare is improved, so you can impose disadvantage to attacks made to your companions, not just yourself. Level 8, potent spellcasting again, so you can add your wisdom modifier to any cantrip damage that you make. And level 17, you get the Corona of Light, so you can, as an action, create an aura of sunlight around you. So it's bright light up to 60 feet, and dim light at 30 feet after that. And any enemy within the 60 feet of bright light, they have disadvantage on saving throws against fire or radiant spell damage. So if Erin ever gets to level 17, she can cast this, then any enemies within that 60 foot, if someone was going to cast Fireball, the enemies would have disadvantage on those rolls. The next domain we have is nature, and the gods that preside over the domain of nature are as varied as Mother Nature herself. So some are as dark and as brooding, as mysterious as the dark forests that they preside over, and some are as light and airy as, spring brooks or rivers, lakes, and that sort of thing. Druids are known for being lovers of nature in D&D, and they may pray to these gods, but these gods have clerics as well. And these clerics are known to hunt down monsters that are a blight on forests and woodlands, and they will maybe help the harvests of people who share the same faith, and potentially wither the crops of people who displease their gods. Nature domain spells include first level animal friendship and speak with animals, level 3 bark, skin and spike growth, level 5 plant growth and wind wall, level 7 dominate beast and grasping vine, level 9 insect plague and tree strike. I know that I am going through the list of spells here and I'm not explaining any of them, but I think if I did explain every single one, then we would be here until midnight, and I don't think my voice has got it. I don't think I've got it in me to talk for that long. But I will continue. So we will get to the spells later on in the player's handbook, and we'll go through them in more detail. But for now, we'll just continue with the cleric. So at first level, if you choose the nature domain, you get a bonus cantrip, so you can choose one of the cantrips from the druid spell list. You get proficiency in heavy armour and in one skill of animal handling, nature or survival. Second level, you get the charm animal and plants channel divinity. So you present your holy symbol, and any beasts or plant creatures, they must make a save or be charmed by you for 1 minute. Level 6, you get access to dampen elements, so any of your companions that are being hit with an elemental spell, they gain resistance. You can use that as a reaction. They must be within 30 feet of you, but if they're hit with acid, cold, fire, lightning or thunder, they become resistant to it, which means they will halve the damage. So if the DM rolls, say, 10 points of acid damage, they get resistance to it, and then that will bring it down to 5 points of acid damage. At level 8, you get Divine Strike, so you can again infuse your attacks with divine energy and deal an extra 1d8 cold, fire or lightning damage. That's up to you which one you want to use, and it increases to 2d8 at level 14. At level 17, you become a Master of Nature, so while any creatures or plant creatures that are charmed by you while using the charm animals and plants channel divinity, you can use your bonus action whilst in combat to guide them and instruct them on what to do on their next turn. The next domain is the Tempest domain, so gods of lightning, of thunder, of earthquake and fire. Some depict merely physical violence, and others depict like physical strength and the idea of courage. So they send their clerics to inspire fear in the common folk, and lead them onto the path of righteousness, or encourage them to offer sacrifices of, I did have to Google how to pronounce this word, propitiation, which is basically appeasing them so they don't suffer their wrath. Tempest domain spells. Fluff all over my notebook for some reason. Tempest domain spells. First level you get Fog Cloud and Thunderwave. Level 3, Gust of Wind and Shatter. Level 5, Call Lightning and Sleet Storm. Level 7, Control Water and Ice Storm. And level 9, Destructive Wave and Insect Plague. And if you choose this domain at first level, you get bonus proficiency in martial weapons and heavy armour. So again, going back to the equipment at the beginning, if you choose this domain, you would be able to choose the Warhammer because you would be proficient in it. You also get Wrath of the Storm, so as a reaction, enemies within 5 feet of you that make an attack against you, you can impose a dexterity saving throw against them, and they take 2d8 lightning or thunder damage. So if they do make that save, they'll take half damage, but if they don't make that save, they will suffer the full damage. At level 2, Channel Divinity, you get Destructive Wrath. So when rolling for thunder or lightning damage, you can use this to deal maximum damage instead of rolling. Again, your Channel Divinity will reset on a short or a long rest. So you can't use this all the time. You can't just spam it, unfortunately. I know that's what I would do if I had the chance. Level 6, you get the Thunderbolt Strike. So when dealing lightning damage to a large or a smaller creature, so large, medium or small, you're able to use this to push it 10 feet away from you. Level 8, you get Divine Strike. So again, you are infusing your strikes with divine energy from your deity, and on successful attacks you will deal a 1d8 thunder damage, and again that increases to 2d8 at level 14. And level 17, you become Stormborn, so you have flying speed equal to your walking speed when you're not underground or indoors. So outside, you're able to fly, which I think is pretty cool. I'm just trying to imagine my Dwarven Cleric flying, even though she's not in the Tempest domain. I think she'd be very, very surprised if she could do that. Just imagining her sprouting wings. Next we have the Trickery domain. So gods of the Trickery domain, they are mostly mischief makers. They are gods of thieves and scoundrels and gamblers, but also of rebels and liberators. These clerics, they enjoy being disruptive. Basically, they enjoy puncturing pride and mocking tyrants, but they can also be kind of Robin Hoodish and steal for the rich and give to the poor, free captives, and they prefer subterfuge and working in the shadows rather than direct confrontation. The domain spells for the Trickery domain. First level, you get Charm Person and Disguise Self. Third level, Mirror Image and Pass Without a Trace. Level 5, Blink and Dispel Magic. Level 7, Dimension Door and Polymorph. Level 9, Dominate Person and Modify Memory. At first level with this domain, you get Blessing of the Trickster, so you touch a willing creature, and for an hour they have advantage on dexterity saving throws. Second level, Channel Divinity. Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting, that's terrible. Invoke Duplicity, so you create an illusion, a duplicate of yourself, and then when you and that duplicate are within 5 feet of an enemy, you get advantage on attacking that enemy because the enemy is confused as to where to look, which one is the real you, where's the attack going to come from. Level 6, another Channel Divinity, Cloak of Shadows. So you use an action to become invisible, and that's it lasts until the end of your next turn. So you could cast it, and then when it becomes your turn again, move around and attack or cast a spell. But attacking and casting a spell, that will drop your invisibility. Level 8, you get Divine Strike as well. So you can again infuse your weapon with Divine Energy. And this time the extra 1d8 deals poison damage, and again at level 14 that will increase to 2d8. And level 17, improved duplicity, so you can create up to 4 duplicates, not just the one. And the last domain, yes, the last domain is the war domain. So war in itself, it can make heroes of ordinary people, but it can also be desperate and horrific and cruel, which really does overshadow any courageous moments that come of this. Gods watch over their warriors and they reward them for their great deeds, and clerics of the war domain, they excel in battle and they inspire others to fight alongside them. So war domain spells, at first level you get Divine Favour and Shield of Faith, level 3 Magic Weapon and Spiritual Weapon, level 5 Crusader's Mantle and Spirit Guardians, level 7 Freedom of Movement and Stone Skin, and level 9 Flame Strike and Hold Monster. So at first level you get a bonus proficiency in martial weapons and heavy armour. You also become a war priest, so when you use an attack action, you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action as well. You can use this a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and this will reset on a long rest. So again, as an example, if you had a wisdom of 16, you could use this 3 times before you had to go for a long rest for it to reset. Level 2, you get Guided Strike as your channel divinity, and you gain use it to gain a plus 10 to your attack roll. Level 6, you get War God's Blessing, and as a reaction you can add 10 to one of your companion's attack rolls. But for both of these, you would need to use it before the DM told you whether or not the attack was successful. So you can't roll a 12, the DM says that doesn't hit, before then saying, oh, I'm just going to use my Guided Strike. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Where was I? Level 8. Divine Strike again. Another extra D8 of damage once you have a successful attack. It's infused with your God's power, and the D8 of damage is the same damage of the weapon used itself. So if the weapon uses slashing damage, it's an extra 1d8 of slashing damage. Again, bludgeoning, piercing, anything like that, it matches the weapon's damage, and again, it increases to 2d8 at level 14. Level 17, you become the Avatar of Battle, so you gain resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing and slashing damage, like the Barbarian's Rage. And for the Cleric, that is it. I feel like this is probably the longest live that I've done so far. Like I said, this is the Cleric from the 2014 version of the Player's Handbook. I know that there is the new handbook out, the 2024 version, and no doubt there's updates, there's more more to the Cleric in there, but like I said, I'm just doing the 2014 version. I'm going to leave space for people to ask any questions that they wish, while I just read out. It's very bright. There we go. So at the beginning of each of the classes, you get like a little overview of what the class, like the Cleric, the Bard, the Barbarian, what they get at each level. So there's the proficiency bonus, the features, the cantrips known, and the spell slots per spell level. So at first level, you get a +2 to your proficiency, spellcasting and your divine domain. Level 2, you also get 3 cantrips and 2 first level spell slots. So again, even though you may have prepared more than 2 spells from your Cleric spell list, you unfortunately only have 2 first level spell slots. Second level, you get your channel divinity and your divine domain feature, and your spell slots increased to 3, so you know you have 3 first level spell slots. Level 3, you gain your second level spell slots. Level 4, ability score improvement. Level 5, your proficiency increases to 3 and you get the Destroy Undead. Again, that's only challenge rating of half and lower. Your cantrips, 4 cantrips, 4 first level spells, 3 second and 2 third level spells. This is going to get very confusing. Level 6, you have your get another of your channel divinity, your divine domain feature. You get another third level spell slot for a total of 3. Level 7, you now have a 4th level spell slot as well. Level 8, ability score improvement, destroy undead, which increases to challenge rating 1, another divine domain feature, and you have 2 4th level spell slots. Level 9, your proficiency increases to 4, and you get access to a 5th level spell slot. Level 10, divine intervention, you increase the number of cantrips that you know, and you increase the number of spell slots that you have. Level 11, destroy undead again, challenge rating increased to 2, so any undead creatures of 2 or lower will instantly be destroyed by turn undead. Level 12, ability score improvement again, and you get access to your 6th level spell slots. Level 13, your proficiency bonus increases. Level 14, destroy undead, increases to challenge rating 4. Level 15, and then here you get access to 8th level spells. So previous levels you get access to your 7th level spells as well. Level 16, I've lost where I am. I think I need to go to bed. We'll go from level 16, you get ability score improvement again. Level 17, your proficiency increases to 6, you get destroy undead to challenge rating 4 and another divine domain feature, and then you get access to a 9th level spell slot. Level 18, you get channel divinity that increases to 3 per short or long rest. Level 19, ability score improvement again, and level 20, divine intervention improvement. So when you request divine intervention from your deity, it's an automatic success. So at level 20, you know 5 cantrips, you know 1st to 9th level spell slots, ranging from 4 to 1 spells in those spell slots. But yeah, if there's no questions, I think I will leave this live here, and thank you to anyone who has watched, anyone who has liked, and anyone who's made it this far. So I'm going to leave it there, but next week we will be moving on to the Druid. I think the Druid is probably my favourite class so far. Certainly the one that I've played to the highest level anyway. So that is next Friday, the 11th of October, 7 PM BST. We will be back once again going through the Druid class. Thank you very much, and goodbye.